film or two ago, I mentioned what I really want to do is make a Sheridan tank. And for some reason the stroke of genius came upon me in the light bulb moment. The god Lou, his flashing spear of inspiration, touched me, and I thought, why don't I buy one? So I got myself onto eBay, and there we are. And Mr. Models, £3.60. Well, it's a bit more than that now. Have you seen the prices models have gone up to on eBay? It's amazing. This camera doesn't like focusing anymore, does it? Yeah, anyway, that's another topic, isn't it? And 1/72 it says, although people say it's actually 1/76, but there you go. Anyway, parts, instructions, markings, here we go. Now here we have just sort of, yes, thank you, focus issues again. Intelligent tech is marvellous, isn't it? Anyway, here we have a kind of interim moment. All the wheels are on, and it's not a Mamas and Papas song, is it? And bits of the turret coming together. So I think this is going to fall into place very quickly. And as I suspected, we are virtually there. When I was a kid, I got this little section to rotate, and then found it was absolutely pointless because when you turned it, all you got was a big hole. So I haven't put any effort into that at all, not even for nostalgia's sake. The other thing I noticed is, oh, that will probably show it. Look at the amount of shadow that's creating, because that's sitting up due to the fact that I can't get it to fit in properly. So there is something of a gap, tragically, and I'm not going to battle with it because the hole is a very odd shape, and I think, given the age and nature of the model, first of all, you might expect this to be the case. In fact, I would have expected more. And the other thing is that in actual real terms, the gap is probably less. It's probably about 0.5 millimetre, so it's not actually too bad. What I am wondering is if that hole is big enough. So it might be time to give it a go. And let's see if we can do a bit of live action on this. What do we think? I have located the hole. I am pushing down. Wait! Oh! There may be consequences to that. It's definitely rotates. Who knows what that really was? I think it might have been a little bit of splitting going on. And we're almost there. Got the machine gun to go and the tracks, but before that, I think a bit of painting around, certainly around the, oh, look at that, around the lower section of the hull and around the wheels, and I was going to say just a little bit of weathering along the edge. And what I might do, because it's such a nice tank, is not do too much weathering and possibly do a bit of low lighting with a very dark green as a wash and see how that goes. What do you reckon? I might back out of that now I've said it. And markings, just a quick note, we're going for this one because this is the one on the cover of the box, which I will give a return visit to. There we are, and it has the number 32 on it for whatever reason. I extract myself from comprehending markings on things because they never actually seem to line up with reality. So this one is Trials Vehicle, 1966. Quite a good year for popular music. And basically that's it. Not too many markings, and a few of them will get covered in mud. And we are almost done. Only the tracks and the machine gun to go. And a tiny little bit of weathering to bring it all together. I was thinking highlighting, but I don't think this one wants it. It's just sitting there neat and tidy, and doesn't kind of ring true. So this is looking all right. Here's the audience getting restless. So just a few little bits to go. So here I am in the workshop, and I've got that track on. The other one snapped because things are so tight. But look what facilitated this one. Wow. And I've ended up having to put staples on it. And sadly, the small stapler with small staples doesn't have any staples at the moment. So this has added a little something to the mix, hasn't it? Can you see that staple just side on? A little. Need to move it off the wheel. Right, back in a tick. This is the other track. And my camera doesn't want to focus because there's so little of it. And that properly shredded. There were like fibres coming off it, although they've all kind of frayed away. But anyway, got to do something with that now. And we're done. All the parts are on, all the markings are on. I found the marking. Did I say I found the markings? I thought I'd lost them, but I found them. That's good. And what? Oh, I haven't got the machine gun on. Anyway, a bit of weathering, perhaps a little bit more to do, and there's just a couple of gluey splodges that are holding the tracks together. I think that's all we need to comment on at the moment. Nice model. Good tank. Look at that profile. Look at that turret. Marvellous. Kind of lessons learned and observations are: watch out for the lower part of the hull, because, ooh, shaky hand, because you have to make sure that you've got it absolutely perfectly accurate and sturdy before you go any further, because the tracks exert such an influence, it's unbelievable. The main thing that I'm not happy about is that enormous lantern. It's got a slightly non-smooth surface, and I should have cleaned that up before I put the silver paint on, but I didn't know it had an uneven surface until I'd put the silver paint on. There are these, I've forgotten what they're called, periscopes. I've only silvered one of them because I've seen a lot of images where there's only one that really shows up as a reflective surface. But also, I quite like the idea of, or I'm playing with the idea of sort of only, you know how things sort of flash, glass and reflective surfaces flash into existence and out again. If you have a lot of them showing, then it suggests that they are all reflecting at the same time, which they won't do. And to be quite honest, I quite like it, but I need to go back and double check to see if all three really are, reflective or not. So I've based it on photographs I have seen, and this sort of interest in the reflective surfaces thing, because sometimes I really don't like doing them silver, because it seems just a bit too simple-minded, if you see what I mean. And what I want to do is do them black, but they don't look right. So I won't do them black. So there. Right, steady on, calm down. I have painted the tools at the back, and I really should have got an image of that, because I've now covered it in sort of low-level weathering, so they don't show up so well. So all my hard artistic work has come to naught. And I've done the grills slightly darker, but bringing it out here, they look like they're still wet, which they can't be because I did them about a day ago. So that's a weird thing. Get the old matte varnishy stuff out. But most of all, let's just celebrate this fabulous small tank with quite a big gun, and celebrate that absolutely incredible sculptural turret, which I'm not showing off very well. That really brings the thing to life, doesn't it? Talk about design and sculpture. This is some kind of artistic phenomenon on wheels. Talking of the turret, just idly the turret does turn and the gun goes up and down. Remarkable. Well done me for a change. It's a simple thing, but I don't tend to worry about moving parts, so if they come along of their own accord, then good fun. Good on them. So there's our dramatic and incredible turret. It's funny that I didn't buy this model when it first came out. I probably left it a couple of years, I think. When I finally got round to making it, I really did like it a lot, as I've been saying, and I just was blown away by the shape. And it's that turret that gets me. Well done, designers. And it's funny how it's stuck in my mind, isn't it? All this time I've kind of had this hankering to redo this tank. There we are, a tank hankering. What a marvellous day. Worth one little mention, going back to the wheels and so on, that the very small rear drive wheels are under such tension from this track, because the other one's the one that's snapped, so it's not under such tension now, that it is being bent inwards. Now, I glued that wheel on about 11 days ago, so it's the plastic, not the joint that is the problem. And look, despite all that time, that's opening up under the pressure. It wasn't like that a couple of days ago. So just can you see that wheel? It's amazing, isn't it? Other than that, ignore everything because we're way too close up. Look at that, it doesn't even fit on the screen. So very inappropriately huge. But anyway, that's the interesting feature of the tracks on this model, perhaps the main problem. Right, machine gun on, highlighting toned down by and large, and then I bring it out into the sun, and I still think it's perhaps a little bit too green, a little bit too vivid, but anyway, there we are. I'll let it settle and have a look in a month or two, when I'm less impressed with myself and more critical, who knows, it might get a toning down. But this I'm going to leave for our purposes today. Oops, nearly pulled the wall over. And I think we're ready to put this out. Now, whenever I get the chance, and that isn't often, I must admit, I do try to read a little bit about whatever model I'm making from the instructions, and maybe some other books and stuff. And I was going to dig out a few books and have a look at what they say about this tank. And I read, at the same time, I read the information on it, on this tank, the Sheridan. Oh, I'm murdering this, aren't I? I read the information in the instructions leaflet. Thank you, Airfix. It's one of the most interesting ones I've ever read. It's really good. Almost to the point of reading it all out, but I won't. What it does say, and I'll kind of do it in their order. Well, let's have a look first of all at one of the interesting specifications. It has a maximum road speed of 43.5 miles an hour and a range of 373 miles. I think that's not bad myself. I know other tanks do better, but when you think that's pretty good considering it's a 60s vehicle. I wonder how many cars from the 60s, regardless of speed and weight, had a range of 373 miles. I mean, that would get you halfway across England. Not Britain, England. Anyway, this thing says, the M551 Sheridan Armoured Reconnaissance Vehicle, currently in US Army service. Now we'll have a look. It'll explain itself shortly. Is unique among the world's tanks in that it fires shillelagh. I thought it said Sheila, and then I remembered. Shillelagh guided missiles, as well as conventional shells. I'm trying not to laugh at Sheila. Firing Sheila. Oh, God. Conventional, as well as conventional shells from its 152mm gun launcher, designed in 1959. It has an air transportable and amphibious capability. That's good. I like that kind of adaptability and that quality of sort of thinking in many directions. And production began in 1966. And you see on some of the larger models, and obviously in all the photographs, it has this weird kind of front face of a chicken run at the front. It says it has, to sustain the type in water, a flotation screen attached to the hull can be erected with the tracks providing propulsion. So there we go. The first saw active service in 1969 when several of the early production machines were sent to Vietnam, still suffering from some design weaknesses and not ideally suited to the jungle terrain of that theatre. It's got a lot of terrains, Vietnam, but you know, the jungle bit obviously proved a problem. It soon gained a poor reputation. However, serious efforts to improve its shortcomings saw the type achieve some notable successes before its withdrawal from Vietnam at the end of 1971. So what's interesting is it's kind of started design in 59. Its production began in 66, and by 69 it's out there, you know, doing its job. It's the from production to doing the job, 3 years. That's pretty good, really. So anyway, in 71 it was withdrawn from Vietnam. Lessons learnt there enabled the Sheridan to be fully developed into a very effective vehicle, and they have subsequently given valuable combat service in, and this is what's interesting, in Operation Just Cause in Panama, interesting name, in 1989, and Operation Desert Storm in Saudi Arabia in 1991. So this is a post-91 leaflet, you know, instruction sheet. It was very interesting. I know I could look up the dates, but it kind of brings this all forward, doesn't it? This isn't some ancient, or it is a reworking of an older model. Following withdrawal from active service, some 300 Sheridans were given a new and unusual role. So here we go. Following withdrawal from active service, they're still in service. That of look-alike modern Soviet armour for use by the Army's National Training Centre in the California desert. That's like the kind of thing they do up here at Otterburn, where if you look back in my films, I've got a couple of little films of a chance to go around the Otterburn ranges where they blow up old tanks. But it does mean it's still in service even when it's been withdrawn. I mean, hats off to it for that. You've got to give it credit. That's stylish. So anyway, that's it. I'm impressed by the interesting career and path it's had. I'm also very interested in the very adaptable qualities it has. But most of all for me, forget all the tech and spec, it looks incredible. It is a very, very distinct looking tank, and that's what draws me to it. Hope you enjoyed this little film. I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you for paying a visit. And I haven't done any aircraft for a bit. I've got a big one on the go, so it's taking a bit of time. So aircraft fans, stay with it. We'll be back shortly. I mean, that's not to say, I'm not promising that it's going to be good. I'm just saying there's an aircraft on the way. For better or worse. Apologies to all. Anyway, see you soon. Cheers.